Growing up, I used to love watching Disney movies. A new one used to come on every Friday, so it is very nostalgic for me. So I just want to talk about the different movies Disney had. Disney movies were also creative and different original stories and themes. Model behavior was so good. I think that's the first time Justin Timberlake was seen acting. He was the love interest and it was two women that looked alike. One was a model and one wasn't, then they end up switching places because the model was tired of living her fabulous life. So she wanted to live a more quiet life, so they end up switching places. That movie was really good. Halloween Town used to come on every Halloween, how Home Alone comes on every Christmas. This used to come on every Halloween and I think there were 3 of them. There was another one after that without the original girl as well. You could not have Halloween without watching Halloween Town. Like if it was in October, I had to watch Halloween Town. Halloween Town was so good. Basically about the family of witches and their mother not wanting them to be witches, but the grandma wanting to encourage them to be witches. There was a whole Halloween Town where the grandma stayed, and where the mother and the kids stayed was like actual reality, the real world. And then the kids end up sneaking over there, and then they have to save Halloween Town from the man trying to take over and ruin it. That movie is so good. Like I said, growing up I used to love it. Next, we're going to go with Cadet Kelly. That's with Hilary Duff and Christy Carlson Romano from Even Stevens. Cadet Kelly was a really good character. Cadet Kelly ended up having to go to like a boot camp or like a ROTC type place because she was getting in trouble a lot. Hilary and Christy's characters didn't like each other at first, but then we end up becoming best friends. Disney movies always taught good lessons about discipline, responsibility, and not judging a book by its cover. Brink made everybody want to skate. Brink came out at a time where skating rings were really big. Skating rings when I was younger. I don't know if it used to be only for birthdays or what, but it was this booth you go into and money floats in the air, and however much money you can catch in like 1 minute, you could keep. The antagonist in it was a popular Disney antagonist in Disney movies. It was about a boy skating with his group of friends. And then there was a rival skate group, but they were more popular and made money. The team that he was on was like a street skating team, but the other team was more popular. Both teams didn't get along. Then he found out his family was struggling. His dad was struggling and he had a little sister, so he needed to make money. So he ended up joining the rival skating team for money and going behind his friend's back and skating with the other team. Motocross was good. It was about 2 twins, a boy and girl twin. The boy twin got injured. So the girl twin ended up taking his identity and acting like she was him. Like she cut all her hair and pretended like she was him. Then she ended up liking this Jude and had to play it off and help hook him up with another girl, cause he didn't know that she was a girl. That movie was really good. I probably didn't really know about motocross and stuff like that, but then making a movie about it made you know a little more about the sport. Showing a girl is just as good in sports. Cheetah Girls is one of the more popular Disney movies. I love Cheetah Girls, but out of all the Disney movies, it's probably on the lower end for me because they were just so good. The singing in it was elite, back when girl groups were popular. I also feel like Raven was older in these. Luck of the Irish was about a boy who was half leprechaun, and his family was about to run out on their luck, and he had to go on a mission to find a coin with the help of his friends. Another creative story and plot almost like Teen Wolf. He also played basketball in the movie and he started to change into a leprechaun. It starred the boy from Smart House, Up, Up and Away. That was with the great Robin Townsend. He used to be one of my favorite directors back in the day. Him, Kenan Wayans and Debbie Allen, like I just love them. The lady from the Girlfriends in the Game, Marie Brocker Kill, I love her too. Basically, the movie was about a family of superheroes. Except the little boy in it hadn't got his superpowers yet, so he faked it because his family was waiting on him to get his powers. The whole movie, they think he has a power, but he really didn't. So that movie was really good. Robert Townsend likes to do superhero movies, Meteor Man and stuff like that. Double Cross was a basketball movie about 2 twins. Disney movies loved a story about some twins. The 2 twins play basketball. One was better than the other. One wanted to do it and the other one didn't. She wanted her twin to want to do it with her, but she wanted to do other stuff. She was super tall, but she didn't want to play basketball. Mind you, they didn't look alike, which I do like cause all twins don't have to look alike like Mary-Kate and Ashley. Lindsay Lohan played both the characters in Parent Trap, so obviously playing identical twins. Double Cross was good. Smart House was one of my favorites, probably like the top 3 for me. Back in the day, Smart House was before its time. Now all these movies talk about a smart house and Alexa this and Alexa that, but Smart House was really the first movie like that of the time. Like you really wanted a house like that. The smart house took over. She thought that they were her family and that she was the member of the house, but yeah, that was a good movie. I loved Matilda. Like back in the day, I used to want to be Matilda. I used to try so hard to bring a spoon to me and lift the spoon. Like try so hard. I always wanted them to remake it, but they remade it as a musical. I don't really like musicals, so I ain't watch. Miss Trunchbull was out of control. Matilda's parents were out of control. That whole movie was out of control. Miracle in Lane 2 was with Frankie Muniz from Agent Cody Banks. It was based on a true story of a boy in a wheelchair who competed in the soapbox derby. He was with his family to build a racer. His older brother was athletic and good at everything, so he wanted something for himself. It was a pretty good movie, teaching compassion for kids with disabilities. Johnny Tsunami was one of my favorites. This movie made me want to snowboard. It was about a Hawaii surfer who moves to the snow and starts to snowboard. It was basically Brink but snowboarding. The famous Jet Jackson played the best friend. She traveled to Hawaii and met a group of friends who showed her how to surf. She fell in love with it, also learning about her heritage in the process. Who were always in the water and stuff like that. I think she almost drowned at the end and they saved her. Very personable to me in my experience. Life Size was more of a popular one, like with Tyra Banks, which was really good. And Lindsay Lohan was the girl in that, and her daddy ended up falling for Tyra Banks' character, which was a doll cause the little girl made the doll come to life. Tyra was eating butter by itself like it was the best thing ever, and they were looking at her like she was crazy. I know they recently made another one, but I haven't seen it. Holes, obviously one of the fanatic ones, one of the most popular ones. It has Shia LaBeouf in it. He was in Even Stevens and True Confession. I'm talking about that later. Holes a really good story. I haven't seen it in a while, but that was a really good story. Like having some kids basically like jailed for whatever reasons, and we're in the desert. Having kids in the desert digging some holes, so the warden could find some treasure or whatever. Zero's grandmother basically said, in order to not be cursed, you got to carry me up the hill or something like that. Stanley's family member ended up not doing it, and she cursed him and his lineage. Then Stanley reversed the curse by carrying Cleo Thomas aka Zero. He was sick and injured cause he ate that slop or slush, whatever the stuff was. These little lizard things were everywhere, which made me think of Are You Afraid of the Dark episode with Tyr and Tamera. Tamara's character had ended up getting bit, and she ended up turning into like a lizard, and she was the antagonist. She was like a lizard or something like that. But yeah, Holes are good. Genius is really good. Genius was obviously about genius, and he liked this girl, and he didn't want to be nerdy anymore, and he wanted to fit in. So he made it seem like he wasn't as smart as he was and tried to play cool and stuff. But he was really, really smart, and it was centered around ice skating. So that movie was really good. Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire, basically about kids, and their mother goes on date with a vampire. I think it's the one of the aunts in Sabrina the Teenage Witch who plays the mother. But their mother ends up going on a date with a vampire, and they realize he's a vampire, because he didn't have reflection in the mirror. So they end up trying to save her the whole time from him. So that was a good movie. Phantom of the Megaplex. I didn't see this one as much. It was basically a play on the Phantom of the Opera. It was basically about a teenager movie theater manager who tried to figure out why all these mysterious things are happening the night of a big movie premiere. Horse Sense starred 2 of the Lawrence brothers. They were big in Disney back in the day. It was about an entitled younger cousin who went to stay with his older cousin on their ranch, and they had to work together to save the ranch. I remember it being good, but I haven't seen it as much as the other Disney movies. Stepsister from Planet Weird was really good. This is basically about two families coming together, but one family was from another planet, and the stepsister kept thinking she was weird. They tried to break up their parents, but ended up becoming best friends and sisters. But that movie was really good, really weird. Like Disney back in the day had some good concepts, they were really getting really creative. 17 again is a big thing. That was a good movie. That was one of my favorites. And I feel like they came out a little later. It starred Tia, Tamera, and Taj Murray. But 17 again is really good. Their grandparents were separated, but ended up turning back to their younger selves after they used the soap that Taj had spilled chemicals on. Pretty much playing his character from Smart Guy. He was also Tia's brother in the game. So the grandparents ended up going to high school with them and falling in love with each other again, all while the parents were away. Wish Upon a Star was one of my favorites. Two sisters wished upon a star, and then the next day they ended up switching bodies, and then having to live life as each other. That movie was really good. That was a good movie, man. It showed a good parallel to two sisters who are different, and how they navigate life in high school. Speaking of switching places, Freaky Friday, that was one of my favorite ones. About a mother and daughter switching bodies. I think they recently made another one of those, but I haven't seen it. Don't Look Under the Bed was like a little scary movie for Disney. It was about a girl who worked with her brother's imaginary friend to defeat a boogeyman, hence the name Don't Look Under the Bed. I don't remember seeing that one as much, it wasn't in circulation. I looked it up and the reason why was because of an interracial kiss between the white girl and the imaginary friend who was black. Never knew that. Now that I think of it, I can't actually think of anything interracial on Disney around that time. Another top for me was Xenon Girl of the 21st Century. I think they had about 3 of them. It's about a girl that lived in space for a long time. Then she ended up getting in trouble. Then they ended up sending her down to Earth to stay with her aunt. She was used to space living, so she didn't really know how to navigate in the world, and she was very boisterous, which I related to. That's why she got in trouble in the first place trying to figure stuff out. So she ended up navigating the Earth and figuring it out, making friends and trying to save the people in space cause villains wanted to sabotage space. So she ended up sneaking back up to save her family. Great movie. The Other Me, I love me so much. It's with the younger Jude from the Lawrence brothers. He ends up cloning himself. It was like one of the first cloning movies that I can think of. It was pretty good. The clone was going to school for him, but then he started to get jealous cause the clone was a better version of him, smarter and more liked. He started seeing him doing better than him, and he was like, hold on now, and started to keep him inside. The clone ended up actually living as his own person. He ended up having his own identity and stuff. True Confessions was what I talked about earlier with Shia LaBeouf. His character had a mental disability. It was about 2 twins, a boy and girl, and the sister True was documenting having a brother with a mental disability. It was really good. It reminded me of the movie I Am Sam. He had a mental disability, but he had a child. Like, that was a good movie. I only seen it once, but I just remember really liking it. So True Confessions was kind of like that type of feel. Paper Brigade was one of my favorites, like most of the Disney movies. It was about a boy, Gunter, taking a job as a paper boy to pay for concert tickets to impress a girl. But along the route, he deals with obstacles and bullies, and has to figure out a way to navigate the route in a fun, creative way. The Lizzie McGuire movie, they went on a graduation trip to Rome. She ended up looking like a girl that was a popular singer in Rome. So the singer male partner got Lizzie to pretend to be the girl cause the other girl was away, so she didn't know what's going on. He made Lizzie think he was helping, but he was really trying to sabotage his singing partner and get everyone to think she can't sing when he was the one who couldn't sing. Lizzie and the singer cleared him by both singing at the end. Quince was with the girl from Halloween Town. Her mother got pregnant with quintuplets. She now was the oldest of all her siblings, and it was her basically navigating that. That was a cool movie. That's one I haven't seen that many times either. The 13th Year was good. It was about an adopted boy who was experiencing puberty when he got to 13. He was turning into a merman. So he was trying to figure that out, and he loved to swim, and he would randomly change like Teen Wolf but a mermaid, and needed to get in some water. He was on the swim team. He eventually learns that he is half mermaid and swims off with his birth mother to learn more about his heritage, the famous Jet Jackson. It was a show and then a movie. What happened was sad, such a talented actor and good show. I used to the famous Jet Jackson, Hocus Pocus. Obviously that's one of the more popular ones too, a really good Halloween movie. I love Hocus Pocus. I didn't see the new one that came out, but Hocus Pocus was really good. It's about this boy who, despite the myth, went to the witch's house and brought them back to life. And the witches started taking souls and putting everybody under spells. That movie is iconic and has quotables. That was a good little story. Twitches was another one with Tyr and Tamera. They had Disney on lock. About two good witches who did know they were witches. They were adopted and didn't know each other, basically like in Sister. There were two Twitches escaped to Witch Mountain. I feel like that's one of the earlier ones, so I remember it the least, but I remember liking it. I think it's about these two that had powers, both the Judes from Brink in it. Susie Q was really good. A supernatural type movie. It's about a ghost who comes back and only one person can see her, and he and her start to fall for each other, both helping the other figure things out. Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan. The twins didn't know about each other. This is actually very wrong for parents to separate their twins like that. You take one twin and they take another twin? That is so selfish to do. That's so weird. The twins end up at the same camp and discover each other and decide to switch places. I always wanted to fence from watching that movie cause they were fencing. One beat one at fencing and the other one beat the other one at poker. They clearly knew they were twins. They weren't slow. They ended up setting up a whole scheme to get their parents back together. That was a good movie. You gave me a fright. They put a lizard on the dad's girlfriend's head and it got in her mouth. Blank Check was one of my favorite movies back then. Some Jude ran him over, gave him a blank check. He ended up making it out for a lot of money, like $1 million or something. And then cause the Jude approved it cause they thought it was somebody else that was coming for the money. He ends up living a lavish life. He bought a house. He did like a voice-changing thing on Macintosh to pretend like he was older. If you could do that back in the day, imagine what you could do now. He was having a ball. I always wanted to get inside a large ball and roll around and dress as a sumo wrestler because of that movie. Him and the woman running through the water like that. I always wanted to do that. I was like, where is that at? I need to do that. They run through the water trying to avoid the water. That just looked so fun to me when I was a kid. I was like, I want to do that. Just a kid living a lavish, fun life, eating tubs of ice cream. You know what you got. STYLE style. He ends up becoming friends with the driver. Preston going around doing stuff like Kevin in Home Alone. Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves is my favorite of that trilogy. Yeah, that's the best one. They shrunk themselves and then their children were basically living on their own, but did not know their parents were there, but they obviously couldn't see their parents. The brother almost passed out, so the sister gave him a banana. The Puff Point was a good movie, but I feel like they didn't show it that much. That's why I barely remember. But it had Taj Murray and Mark Curry in it. It was about two scientists accidentally making themselves decrease in age until they will no longer be, causing their children to rush to save them. Disney was good for a good sci-fi. This isn't a movie but an honorable mention. There used to be a reality camp show on Disney that would come out every summer and it was so good. It was the real world for kids. They had so much drama at that camp. I used to be tuned in. I named a lot of movies. I'm pretty sure I missed a whole bunch of them. There were so many back in the day.